Yo, what up everyone? In this video I'm going to be showing you how to improve your movement specifically on controller in Apex Legends. Now we're going to cover a few of the basic techniques and we're also going to talk about a few of the advanced ones as well. I will show you how to do certain movements and talk about when to use them and why they're important to add to your skill set if you're trying to improve at Apex. And we will also get into talking about the myths surrounding movement and explain to you why it is so alluring to the majority of the player base. So first, let's talk about movement and why it is important in Apex. The simplest reason I could come up with is it's going to help you avoid taking more damage. That's the main benefit to it. Whether you need to reposition, reload, use cover, crouch spam, wall bounce, bunny hop, zipline bounce, just about any technique, the biggest advantage is simply you taking less damage from your opponents while you output more damage and win the fight. But this is why aim is always going to win over movement. However, they're both critical in improving at Apex. For anybody who's new to my channel, I have a link in the description that goes to my Fiverr profile where I offer Apex Legends coaching sessions, and I've done over 50 of them on Fiverr. And one of the main issues I see among not just controller players but mouse and key players is that they're overcompensating with the whole movement thing. They're doing too much in these fights to the point where they're actually just hindering their aim, which is resulting in them doing less damage to their opponents and just getting knocked and having to go next. So they're putting way too much emphasis on, let's say, crouch spamming up close to the point where they're whiffing 90% of their shots and they're just getting put down by somebody who has better aim or just hits more of their shots, whatever it is. So if movement is getting too much in the way, I urge you to take a step back, tone it down a little, and focus more on aim, because at the end of the day, aim and damage is what's going to win the fights. Movement is a component to that, and I don't want to be misunderstood here. It's very important. But among good players, really good players, or even decent players, movement is used to avoid taking a lot of damage, to catch opponents by surprise, to do what they're not expecting, to move in a unpredictable pattern, in other words. So let's talk about how to wall bounce on controller. Obviously, I have the controller layout on the right side of the screen, but there's 5 components to it. You're gonna slide, jump, look, jump, look away. You're going to slide at an angle towards the wall. You're going to jump when you're not too far and not too close away from the wall. You're going to look towards the wall, and then you're going to jump again and look away from the wall. And you turn those 5 motions all into one fluid motion. If you jump too close or too far away from the wall, it may think your legend is trying to climb the wall. In other words, you won't get a good jump. Let's talk about another way. You can wall bounce a wall that you're trying to climb in order to get over it quicker, in order to keep your weapon pulled out. This is very handy, especially on, I would say, like World's Edge particularly. There's a lot of walls on World's Edge that are outdoors and you can jump up over them and not ever have to bolster your weapon. There's also another mechanic that I learned here in the firing range where you actually can just jump at the base of the wall in order to get to the top of it. And basically, I'm looking down at the wall, I'm jumping when I'm falling back down, and then it's going to propel me up. This would only be handy on probably the walls on World's Edge, or maybe like a small building that you could get onto the roof from like this instead of climbing, and you could keep your weapon out the whole time. All right, so I'm going to explain when is the right time to wall bounce. Now, in this clip here, you'll see I'm going to break line of sight and surprise my opponent. They don't even land a shot on me as I'm wall bouncing at them. Now, doing this is good because it's going to catch your opponents by surprise. He's not expecting a fat Caustic to leap around the corner in the air. He's expecting Caustic to walk around the corner, right? So I also avoid an arc star right at the right time. That wasn't deliberate, but it just happened. And so surprising your opponents is really critical, as long as you use that short window of opportunity to do some damage. Like here, I knew I was going to get pushed from the exit and the entrance, and so I wall bounced, avoided taking damage from the Octane, hit him in the head for 60, then challenged him. Then I forced this 1v1 with the lifeline, and I end up pulling this off because the movement there helped me get that window of opportunity, but my aim was the one that really put the opponents down. All right, so let's talk about slide jumping or jump sliding, either one. The main reason to do this is momentum. It will clear more space, more distance, and get you closer to cover or your opponent or your teammates, whatever it may be. But you'll do it faster than you would just be by running, and it will be a less predictable movement. Now you'll see how I'm jumping, I'm sliding off the top, then jumping again on that surface. You can also create momentum by jumping and then sliding down things, like here in this clip. I'm gonna fry this Revenant, all right? And in order to get to him closer, I'm gonna launch off this handrail, slide down that box, and then just hit fire spray him. I knew he was weak. Now I got to him probably quicker than he anticipated, and it caught him by surprise. He knew he didn't have time to heal, just from the fact of me getting there so soon. And I'm gonna show you another example right here. These maniacs Revenant pushed us and then sent back on the jump pad. So I'm gonna slide on the top of this box, get right to the Revenant, hit fire. You see how I'm not excessively crouch spamming on this dude? I don't need to do that here. I don't need to crouch spam excessively. I just need to incorporate some movement, whether it's strafing or crouch spamming. Now here, we're gonna pretend this is the zip line in the capital city buildings. If I wanted to go up one floor, I'm gonna show you how to interact quickly on the zip line and do it essentially without making a sound on the zip and appearing much quicker. If you know opponents above you, you can tap X, then hit A and do it rapidly, and you'll go up the zip, and then if you turn around, you'll be on that floor. I know that's kind of hard to explain, but you know, Apex took out World's Edge, so I had to make the best of it with this firing range clip. And here I'm gonna show you how to double jump on zip lines. So the way you do it is you're gonna tap X to interact and then quickly spam A twice. Now, why is this helpful? Well, your opponents will almost never expect this, and it will create momentum, space, and hopefully a good lead to get more damage off on your opponent. Now you can do these on man-made zip lines, or you can do them on the zip lines that are throughout the maps. But it is tough being on controller with X as your reload. Sometimes it will think you're trying to reload when you're trying to interact with the zip, but not always. Now there's honestly a lot to cover regarding movement in Apex, and I didn't want to possibly try to fit it all into one video, but I do want to end on two strong points. One of the best movement mechanics that I think is important for any controller player is understanding line of sight and angles. Use line of sight to your advantage. Make sure that you're reloading behind cover. Make sure that you're shooting behind cover and that you have a favorable angle. The more map knowledge you have, aka the more you've played the game on each map, the more you'll know where and when you need to do things like repositioning and what's a good angle and what's not, and is there a wall here or is there a roof here that I need to climb? You know, all of these things are important factors when it comes to movement. And number two, guys, is make sure you're practicing these things. Nobody is just naturally gifted at good movement and good aim on controller in Apex. At least that's my opinion. So go into the firing range, practice, do drills, incorporate movement into each time you're shooting, whether it's strafing, crouch spamming, jumping, any of the above things. Try to do those things. Practice wall bouncing anywhere and everywhere on the map so that when you're in a game, it feels natural to do it at the right opportunity in those fights. And if anybody's new here and isn't already subscribed, I hope you'll consider subscribing after watching this so you don't miss out on more solid Apex content. If you enjoyed the video, slap a like, and I'll catch you guys on the next upload. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.